Hello, it's Lesley Fightmaster. Today's class is a class to create length in the body, and Emily Mothersberg asked for this class. So let's bring the hands together and take a moment to create your intention. And if you have yoga blocks available, grab 2 blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks available, that's okay. You can mime it. And I just want to say right now, Emily, I'm sorry that I didn't do a very good job on your last name. So let's begin by lying down, just in a regular Shavasana position. Allow your feet to flop open with your arms out to your sides and your palms facing up. Begin to deepen your breath. Take a moment to scan your body, see if there's tension being held anyplace, and let that go. Next, inhale, point your toes right up to the ceiling and start to engage the leg muscles. And then inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Watch that the low back doesn't arch and that the ribs don't pop up. Have your palms face each other. Keep the shoulders right in their sockets. So it's a very active Shavasana. It's not even really a Shavasana. It's an active lying down pose. Bring your arms back by your sides. Now take a block in between your inner thighs. You could also use a rolled up towel and then another block between your hands. As you inhale, we'll reach the arms over in line with the ears. So if you feel your low back starting to arch and your ribs starting to pop up, then don't go quite so far. We want to be able to maintain the length in the spine as you reach the arms overhead. Gently squeeze the block between your inner thighs and see if you can create any more length throughout the spine. Reaching the tailbone toward the heels, and maybe stretch your fingers just a little bit further toward the back of your mat. Holding that block steady. Inhale, bring the block back up toward the ceiling. Exhale and release it. And we'll release the other block. And then draw your knees into your chest into Apanasana. Taking a moment to give yourself a hug, because you deserve it. Roll off to your right side, and with your left hand, press yourself up. We'll roll forward and make our way onto the hands and knees. Be sure to pat up your knees if your knees are sensitive at all. Line up your wrists under the shoulders with your knees under the hips. As you inhale, bring your chest forward, lift your chin, lift your tailbone up. As you exhale, press away from the floor, rounding the back, draw your chin toward your chest. And again, inhale to come forward, lifting the chin, the tailbone up, draw the chest forward, widening collarbones. And exhale, press away from the floor, draw the front ribs in, tuck the tailbone. Inhale again, bringing the heart forward, lengthening the front of the body, and then exhale, rounding the back. Inhale once again, heart forward, lifting the chin and tailbone up gently. Exhale, draw your belly in and round your back, pressing away from the floor. Now we'll find a neutral spine. So extending the right leg back, so make sure your right hip doesn't lift up, but lift your right leg from the inner thigh. Tucking the toes, the foot is on the floor. Now we'll lift it straight up. As you lift it straight up, make sure that your lower back doesn't begin to overarch. You can point the toes straight to the floor, and that'll help keep your hips level. Or if you want a little more extension, you can reach to the ball of the foot, but continue to drop the right hip down. Let's release that. And now we'll do the left side, making sure again that you're not arching and you're not rounding your back, but you're just coming from a neutral spine. Extend the left leg back, tucking the toes under. Make sure the hip's not lifting and try not to arch your back too much. Just a natural curve in the low back is all that we really want. Lift the left leg straight up, but outer left hip rolls down, inner left thigh lifts up. Don't overarch the back, so checking in with that. Draw the ribs in the belly in and up here. And then extend that left leg as much as you can. See if you can find a little more length. And we'll release it. Now once again, we'll extend the right leg back behind you. Toes tucking under, drop the outer right hip down. Inhale, lift it from the inner thigh. Find that extension through the leg, and now we'll add the arm. Now there's more of a tendency to arch the low back a little too much, so draw the belly and ribs in, and then create your length by reaching through the left fingertips and extending through the right leg, like someone's pulling you in two opposite directions. See if you can find a little more length through the spine. And release. Left leg. So we'll extend the left leg back, the toes tucking under. Drop the outer left hip down. As you lift it up, lift the left leg from the inner thigh. And then, as you're ready, right arm forward. So again, watch the low back. It's not overarching. So drawing the ribs and the belly in to keep that stability in the torso. And then extend, really reach through the arm and the leg in opposite directions. So not only extending the arm and the leg, but also extending through the spine. Reach the tailbone toward the heels and release down. Hips toward heels, and we'll make our way into a child's pose. The arms extended in front, again finding length. So in these poses, we want to align the body first. We want to stabilize the body, and then we want to elongate. So we always want to go for those three things in each pose. Align, stabilize, elongate. Come back up onto your hands and knees. Bend your knees and lift up into down dog with the knees bent. So with the knees bent, we're going to try and get a little more length through the spine. And then slowly start to reach the heels down. Make sure the arms are shoulders distance apart and the feet are hips distance. If you want to bicycle the legs here, you're welcome to begin bending one knee and the other. Spread your fingers nice and wide and press into the base of the fingers. So you need a nice foundation, nice stability in the arms and the hands so that you can extend away from that foundation. Look forward and bend the knees. Stepping the feet up. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthen the spine. Hands to shins, or if you have blocks, you can even put hands to blocks. And as you exhale, we'll fold forward, shift the hips over the heels. As you inhale, pressing through the feet, come up with a nice long spine and reach all the way up. Stretching tall, and then exhale the hands to the heart. So we'll take our blocks again, just like when we were lying down. One block between the inner thighs, and the other block will palm the sides. So palms of the hand on the outsides of the block. If you don't have a block, just pretend that you do. Inhale the arms up. Now watch to make sure again that your low back doesn't arch and your ribs don't pop out. If they do, keep your block a little bit in front of your ears. So draw the front ribs in and reach your tailbone toward the floor, lengthening through the back body. Then we're going to hold here for a little bit and keep reaching up through the arms. As you extend up through the arms though, drop your shoulder blades down toward the waist so we're not creating any tension around the neck. But keep finding that length and that extension. As your front ribs absorb in, start to lift your back ribs up. You probably are feeling this by now in the arms and in the legs because we're really working. So we'll release the block back down. Take a breath here, and then once again, inhale, we'll lift it back up. Arms in line with the ears, or hands in front, arms in front of the ears. So again, watch for that overarching in the lower back. and watch for the ribs popping out. So draw the front ribs in. So there I'm showing an overarch. And then draw the ribs in, tailbone lengthening toward the heels, and lift your frontal hip points up. And that'll help to create length in your spine. So we want as much length up as we can get here. Continue your steady breathing. So again, you're probably feeling this. And incidentally, with the hands in that position, your outer arms spin forward. So that's good. We'll release that block in the arms. And then inhale, circle the arms out, around, and up. Keep that length. Keep the belly and ribs drawn in. Exhale, forward folding. Hips over the heels. We still have the block between the legs. Inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, we're going to start to move back. And this will be a little awkward with the block. So folding forward. Walking back, just little baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. And then inhale into plank pose, top of a push-up. So we can use that block to make sure our legs are really working. And then reach the crown of the head forward and reach the heels back for length. Shift forward about an inch, lower slowly to the floor. You can always take the knees down first. Untuck the toes, press your toes straight back behind you, all the toenails down. Inhale for a cobra. Peel the chest up. Pull your hands toward your heels, widening the collarbones. Still gently squeezing that block between the legs. Now come up onto the knees, tuck your toes under, and make your way into down dog. So still giving that block a squeeze. We're going to hold the block in between the thighs for a few rounds of sun salutation. So we're going to vary our sun salutation a little bit to incorporate the block. So instead of jumping or stepping forward, we'll walk the hands back to the feet. Inhale, hands to shins and lengthen. Exhale, fold forward, hips over the heels. Inhale, press down through the feet and rise all the way up, ribs in, belly in. Exhale, hands to heart. Remember, rolled towel will work here as well. So get your block or your towel, and then inhale, circle the arms up, look up, ribs in. Exhale, hinging forward from the hips, getting length through the spine as you come forward. Inhale, halfway up, lengthen. Exhale, walk your hands forward, finding plank pose. Holding plank for a moment, lift up between the shoulders, reach the crown of your head forward, stretch the heels back, and then slowly lower chaturanga. Knees can come down here. Inhale, press into upward dog or cobra. If you're in up dog, get your thighs and knees up. Exhale, tuck your toes, make your way into down dog. Spread your fingers wide. Root into the base of the fingers as you lift up through the forearms and press the weight up through the hips and then down through the heels. See if you can create any more length in your spine. But still keeping the ribs in. On your exhale, walk your hands back to the feet. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale to fold. On the inhale, rooting down, reach all the way up, tailbone lengthen, stretch up tall, and exhale, hands to the heart, samastitihi. Again, inhale, circle the arms up, lengthening. Exhale, so from the hips, hinging forward, right where the thigh meets the torso, that's where we move from. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthen your spine, keep your ribs in. Exhale, walk your hands forward. You can bend your knees to walk forward. And then once you get into plank pose, try to straighten out the legs. Pausing here just for a moment to see if you can create a little more length. Crown of the head forward, heels back, tailbone toward heels. Hug the elbows in, chaturanga, shoulders no lower than your elbows. Inhale, up dog, shoulders above the wrists. Exhale, tuck the toes. Make your way back into downward dog. And breathing here. Arms and ears in line with each other. And continue again to lengthen out through the spine. So we're going to come down to the knees. I'm going to grab my other block, bring it between my hands toward the front of the mat. I'll remove the block from my inner thighs, and I'm going to put that about where my thighs will land if I were in plank pose. One block is vertical, the other is horizontal. Just helps me to be more comfortable. So I'm in plank pose, shifting forward. I'm going to lower until I find those blocks. So the legs are getting held up. Now, shoulders want to droop down, but instead lift them up. Draw the shoulder blades toward the waist. Keep the crown of the head reaching forward. Don't let your head drop. Then just kind of an up dog and then back into down dog. So we're going to do this again because I see a lot of people, their shoulders going past the elbows and shoulders dipping down, and that puts our shoulders at risk, and we don't need to hurt our shoulders. So inhale again to plank, top of a push-up. Then you'll shift your shoulders forward about an inch, hug your elbows in as you lower down to the blocks, and pause. Don't let the shoulders roll down, but lift them up and draw the shoulder blades toward the hips. Back to the knees are lifted, so don't let your head drop, but reach it forward. Keep reaching through the heels. Inhale to press into up dog a little bit, and then exhale back into downward facing dog. So we'll move the blocks out of the way. Come back into downward facing dog. Look forward, either step or hop your feet up. Inhale, lengthen. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, press down through the feet. Lengthen up nice and tall. And exhale, bring your hands to the heart. So back to Samastitihi, finding length. Inhale, sweep the arms up, back ribs lift. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, keeping length all the way forward. Inhale, lengthen out your spine, no rounding the back here. Bend the knees, plant the palms, and step back into plank. Chaturanga, shoulders no lower than elbows, but you can take the knees down. Inhale, press into up dog, shoulders over wrists, thighs and knees off the floor, or stick with cobra. Exhale, belly muscles lift you up and back to down dog. Right leg up, inhale, stretch out through that leg, press for the arms. Exhale, step it between the hands and spin your back heel flat. Inhale for a warrior two. So we'll try and find our length in warrior two through the spine. So reaching the crown of the head up as you drop your front hip down, and then also creating length through the arms. So reach your arms in opposite directions actively, but shoulder blades toward the waist. Don't create tension. Drop the left arm reverse. So now we'll stretch out the side body, creating length there. Inhale, come up. Straighten the front leg. We'll keep the legs wider today. Shift your hips back, lean forward. So first, get as much length as you can leaning forward. Don't even worry about coming into the pose. Just lean forward. Then take your right hand to your shin or a block or the floor, left arm up. So we want in triangle pose to get as much length as possible from the right hip crease all the way through to the right armpit. A lot of times I'll see compression on the lower side of the body in this pose. So extending. The pose is actually called Uttita Trikonasana. Reach the left arm in line with the ear, get a little more length. Uttita means extended, so keep extending. Inhale, we'll come all the way back up and then rebend the front knee to warrior two. Exhale with length, windmill the arms down, plank pose. Shift forward, chaturanga, pause, shoulders no lower than elbows. Inhale to press up, roll the shoulder heads back. And exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up, lift it from the inner thigh, stretch through that leg. Exhale, lightly step it up between the hands, back foot is flat, line up heel to arch, warrior two. So again, we'll gaze over the front fingertips and thinking about that length. So first make sure the knee is over the ankle. So we want to make sure we're aligned. Press down into the front heel, press to the outer edge of the back foot, stabilizing the pose, and now lengthen. Through the spine, crown of the head up, tailbone down, extend out through the arms as well, creating length through the arms. Drop the right arm reverse, reach the left arm in line with the ear, see if you can stretch out the side body, then inhale to come up, straighten the left leg, we'll keep the legs wide, shift the hips back, lean toward the front of the mat, get as much length as you can, take your time, there's no rush getting into this, see if you can create a little more length today. Left hand down to the foot, shin or a block, reach up through the right arm, shoulders are in line with each other. So again, see if you can get a little more length from your left hip through your left armpit. I decided to use a block on this side. It's giving me more space. I think props are really, really handy. So if you don't have a block, I would say pick one up. They're not very expensive. Extend up through the right arm. Press down into the base of the big toe of your left foot, drawing the front sitting bone under you. And exhale the right arm in line with the ear. See if you can create a little more space through the fingertips and reaching the tailbone back like someone's pulling you there in two different directions, lengthening out your spine. Inhale, make your way back up. Exhale, warrior two, breath in, and then as you exhale, cartwheel your arms down and step back into plank. Shift forward, keep that length through chaturanga. Inhale, opening the whole front of the body, getting length there. Exhale, make your way into downward facing dog. So we'll work on a couple of back bends. And we always want to create length in back bends. But first, right leg up on the inhale, step it forward, stand the ball of your back foot for crescent. Bend your left knee and drop your tailbone down to create length in the lower back. Lift the hip points up, front ribs absorb in, and then keep all of that length as you straighten the back leg. Stretch up through the arms, arrow straight arms, spin the triceps forward. So watch for that arch in the lower back and watch for the ribs popping out. So draw the front ribs in, lift the back ribs up. This is actually a great pose to prepare for back bends. It helps to stretch out the hip flexor. And then reach forward, hover over the front thigh, reach the fingertips forward, creating length here. Keep the belly lifted. Walk your back foot in. When you're ready, we're going to lift from the inner back thigh into warrior three, similarly to when we were in table pose. So lift it from the inner thigh, outer left hip drops down. Keep the chest open and lifted, and stretch like someone is pulling you in two different directions. Slowly make your way back into crescent, and then exhale, bring the hands down. Step back through a vinyasa, slowly and mindfully. Inhale, stretch out the front of the body. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg floats up on your inhale. Exhale, step it up. Stay on the ball of your back foot. Come on up on your inhale into crescent. Bend the back knee again. Drop the tailbone down. Lift your hip points up. So the hip points lift up toward the navel. Keep that. Watch your low back, watch your ribs. Keep all of the low back lengthening, the ribs drawing in, and then extend through the back leg. Stretch up tall through the arms. And breathe. Make sure your left knee is over your ankle. Now keep all of this length as you hover over the left leg. Slowly picking up the right leg for warrior three. Lift it from the inner thigh. Let your outer right hip draw down. Pull the ribs in the belly in to keep the low back from overarching. Stretch through the back leg as if you're pressing it into a wall. Keep the standing leg nice and firm, and then slowly step back into crescent pose. Knee over ankle, and release the hands down. Take a vinyasa. On second thought, just lower to the floor. So we'll set up for Shalabhasana, locust pose. Arms in line with the ears. Before you come up, reach the tailbone to the heels. Press the toes, all the toenails down into the floor. Press the pubic bone and lift up. Pick up your belly away from the floor. Stretch through the fingertips. Reach through the legs. Inner thighs spinning up like you still have that block between the inner thighs. And come down to rest. So instead of back bending, think of this as front opening. And then extend the arms again in line with the ears. Pick up the belly, tailbone toward heels. Lift everything up. Stretching forward, inner thighs spinning up. Again, creating length. Stretching and breathing into the chest, and then slide the hands by the lower ribs, coming down, and then come up up dog or cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. Make your way onto your knees. Grab a block or both blocks if you have them. Take them to the outsides of your ankle bones. The knees are in the same width as your hip sockets. Bring your hands to the lower back and just press there to create length. So we're going to lengthen up through the back body and then lifting the chest with that length, gently pressing the thighs forward and leaning back. Maybe just a little bit to start. If you feel like you can reach the blocks, you have blocks there, reach back, but then press forward again gently. Keep reaching the tailbone toward the heels. And let your head go back any amount. And then lift your hip points up towards your lower ribs. So again, creating length. Squeeze the legs toward each other to come up. We'll move the blocks out of the way. Take one block in between your inner thighs and give it a squeeze. Hands again to the low back. So tailbone is lengthening. Frontal hip points are lifting. Back ribs are lifting up toward the chest. Chest is widening. And then leaning back, keeping all that length in the tailbone. And maybe go back a little bit and then come on up. And then again, lengthen up, lengthen up, lengthen up through the torso. Shift the hips forward a little bit. Keep lengthening back. Chest open and lifted. Maybe reaching for the feet. Letting the head go back any amount. Maybe not today. So listen to your body. Make sure that if you're taking the full pose, that your body agrees with that. Come on up. And we'll move the block out of the way. Child's pose. Hips back to the heels. Again, create some length here. Come back to your steady breathing and back to your intention. Make your way back up onto the knees and then shift your hips off to one side, extending the legs in front of you. So if you find it's hard to sit up really tall, get a towel or a blanket, fold it in half, or a pillow, sit right on the edge. Flex your ankles, pull your toes back, lengthen through the spine. Inhale, reach the arms up, create more length. Exhale, hinge from your hips, come forward like someone has your hands and they're pulling you forward. We're just going to stay here and imagine someone has come up and grabbed onto your hands or your wrists and it is just extending you forward. Keep reaching forward, draw the belly in, flexing the ankles. And inhale, come on up. And release the hands. Take a moment to bring your hands right next to your hips and sit up tall. Widen across your collarbones. Flex your ankles. So if you were to sit here long enough, you would definitely feel the work in that pose, Dandasana. So move the blanket out of the way and shift onto your back. Hug the knees into the chest. And arms out. We'll drop the knees over to the left and look over your right shoulder. Twist. You're welcome to cross your right knee on top of the left if you want a little deeper stretch. Inhale, center. And exhale, knees over to the right and look left. Feel free again to cross the left knee over the right. And then back to center. Happy baby. Take the pinky toe sides of the feet, draw the knees in toward the armpits, reach the tailbone toward the floor. Now we're going to create some length as we come into our Shavasana pose. So allow your feet to flop open, arms by your sides. Make sure the tailbone is reaching toward the heels. Widen across the collarbones. And just relax. And we'll stay here for a minute or so, and I will be back with a quote. As you're here resting a little bit longer, I have been thinking about more love in the world. There's a situation in Baltimore where people are fighting, and I know that there are people suffering in Nepal from the earthquakes, and so I thought, what can we do? And then I thought we can start sending out love. So from Mother Teresa, she says, spread love everywhere you go. Let no one come to you without leaving happier. Begin to make some movements and roll yourself off to your right side. Slowly pressing yourself up to seated. Sitting up nice and tall. Let's bring our hands to the forehead to remind us to have clear and loving thoughts. Our hands to the heart, reminding us to have clear and loving intentions. Our hands to the mouth to remind us to have clear and loving communications. Offering up this energy, this love to all beings everywhere. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked our practice, please push the like button and share, and I love to read your comments. And if you can afford to support Fightmaster Yoga, our mission is to get yoga to as many people as possible, because we really believe that the more people who practice yoga, the more love there will be in the world. And I know it might sound a little cheesy, but totally believe it's true. So if you can afford to support us on our mission, there is a link below. You could also go to fightmasteryoga.com. There's an Amazon logo on the homepage, and if you click that logo and then do your shopping on Amazon through there, it doesn't cost you anymore, but it's another way to support us. If you're interested in becoming a yoga teacher, if you want to do what you love, please email me. My email is below. If you're interested in joining me on a yoga retreat, Ojai this August 2015, email me. Bye.